Are you new to espresso and want to learn how to make it? Well, you've come to the right place, because in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to pull a shot of espresso, and I'm going to share with you some of the most common mistakes baristas make. So let's dive in. The first thing that we're going to do before we make an espresso is purge the group head. So just run some water through it. And what this is going to do is it's going to clean the group head, make sure that any grounds from the previous brew are unstuck and out of it, and that way it's just going to give us a cleaner shot. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to dry our portafilter, make sure that there's no grounds in there, make sure that it's dry, not wet, and that brings us to the first mistake that baristas make, and that's not thoroughly drying their portafilters, not thoroughly cleaning their portafilters. If your portafilter's unclean and it's got grounds from the previous brew, it can mess up the flavours in your espresso, so it's important that this is dry and it's clean. Next, you're going to place your portafilter on a set of scales. So this can be kitchen scales, or if you've already gone out and bought a proprietary set of scales for your espresso machine, use that. You're going to place some beans in the hopper and just grind. I need to talk about brew recipes. Standard recipe is 18 grams in, so that's 18 grams in the basket to 36 grams of espresso out. That's the recipe that I recommend you follow. Dose out 18 grams and we will pull 36 grams of espresso out. So we're just going to stop midway to level that bed so we can fit some more in. That's 14 grams, a little bit more, 18 grams, there we go. So the next thing that we need to do is take this coffee and make it as even as possible throughout the bed. This is because if the bed isn't even, water will just pass straight through the coffee and won't take any of those solubles that make espresso, that make coffee, and you'll end up with a really watery shot. So we need to make this even. This brings us to the second mistake that baristas make, and that's not distributing. Quite often you'll find that baristas go straight from grinding to tamping, which you shouldn't do, because if you do that you open up the possibility of channeling, which is essentially where water goes past all of the coffee and out the other end. So that way you end up with watery espresso and not the espresso that you want, which is thick, creamy, everything that an espresso is. So you're just going to tap the side of the basket, the side of the portafilter, like so, and we've distributed the bed as best as we can. So there you can see that's about as good as it's going to get without the use of tools. Now that the bed is distributed, we need to compress it in order for pressure to build up behind it. So we're going to take a tamper and we're just going to firmly press down on the bed. And now our bed is tamped. I have made videos both on distribution and on tamping, so I will link those in the description if you want to look at a more in-depth guide on how to do both of those. So now that our puck is ready, let's pull an espresso. Another mistake that baristas make when making espresso is putting the portafilter in too violently. So it's important that when you put the portafilter in, when you lock it in, you're gentle, just like that. Because if it's too violent, and if you really like force it in and it's, you know, you knock the side or whatever, that's going to break down the puck, that's going to compromise its integrity. So when you make espresso, you need a small set of scales like these. You need to be able to weigh out your yield. Remember what I was saying about recipes, about 18 grams in and 36 grams out? you need to be able to weigh that 36 grams. If you don't have any, you can get them off of Amazon or eBay quite cheap. You're going to tear your scales, and then you're going to take a timer. As soon as you press the button to pull your espresso, you need to press the timer as well. And we will start the timer now. I stopped the shot a bit too late, so we've got a little bit more than 36 grams, but that's all right. The reason that we're timing this espresso shot, and the reason that it's important, is because the coffee needs to extract for a certain amount of time. If the time is too short, it's going to taste really sour. It's not going to taste good at all. If the time's too long, it's going to taste really bitter. So the general accepted time is 25 to 30 seconds. 29 seconds. So this is a good shot. We're just going to grab a spoon. Give it a stir. And that's our espresso shot there. So I'm going to give it a quick taste. Yeah, and a very nice espresso. And that is all. That's how to pull a shot of espresso. If you want to pair some steamed milk with that espresso you just made, you can watch my video on how to steam milk here. And if you like this video and want to see similar content in the future, subscribe, turn on notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you soon.